why am I so angry? Not just irritated, but overwhelmed, like something erupts inside, and I don't know how to stop it. Maybe you feel this too. Maybe it's quiet, a slow simmer of bitterness, or sudden, an explosion that surprises even you. And maybe you've been told, just calm down, don't overreact, control yourself. But here's the truth. Anger is not random. It has roots. It has memory. It is a signal, not a flaw. In this episode, we're going to explore anger like a mirror. We'll look at it through neuroscience, psychology, childhood experience, and real-life behavior. And most importantly, we'll try to understand what it's really trying to say. In 1920, Sigmund Freud proposed the concept of the death drive, or thanatos, in his work Beyond the Pleasure Principle. He believed that human beings have a hidden pull toward destruction, both outward and inward. When anger is not expressed outwardly, it often turns inward. It can take the form of self-sabotage, chronic self-blame, addictive behavior, or depression that hides beneath apathy. Freud also introduced the concept of repetition compulsion, the unconscious urge to repeat old pain, even if it harms us. You might fight with your partner the same way your parents fought. You might ruin your own success because you believe you don't deserve it. Or you might create chaos when life feels calm, simply because peace is unfamiliar. In these cases, anger becomes a ritual of suffering, a reenactment of what once wounded us. Carl Jung expanded on Freud's theories, but he viewed anger not just as a symptom, but as a signal of something deeper, something we don't want to admit. He introduced the concept of the shadow, which includes all the traits, emotions, and desires we reject in ourselves. When we suppress our anger, it doesn't disappear. It shows up in sarcasm, irritability, emotional withdrawal, or passive-aggressive behavior. We may even judge others for the same traits we carry deep within. Jung once said that everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is acknowledged in our conscious life, the darker and more powerful it becomes. You might tell yourself, I'm not an angry person, but clench your jaw in your sleep, or smile politely through resentment, only to explode later over something small. Jung's approach wasn't about eliminating anger. It was about integrating it, facing it honestly, asking what part of us it's trying to defend. Modern neuroscience supports the idea that chronic anger activates several brain regions: the amygdala, which handles emotional intensity, the hypothalamus, which regulates stress and arousal, and the prefrontal cortex, which helps us manage impulses. In a healthy brain, the prefrontal cortex keeps the emotional system in balance. But in people who experience trauma, instability, or emotional neglect, this regulation may be weakened. A child raised in a volatile or emotionally cold home might grow up hypersensitive to perceived threats, quick to anger under stress, and prone to black and white thinking, like believing people are either for you or against you. For many, anger becomes the default setting. not because they're bad, but because their brain was wired to survive danger, not to feel safe in peace. Dr. Gabor Mate, a Canadian physician and trauma expert, writes in his book, When the Body Says No, that suppressed anger can lead to both emotional and physical illness. According to Mate, anger turned inward is a major contributor to autoimmune disease. People who don't express anger are often the nicest people and also the sickest. Why is that? Because suppressing anger often means suppressing boundaries. Children who grew up with emotional neglect or manipulation often learned that it was safer to stay quiet. Don't complain. Be nice. Don't upset anyone. They may become highly agreeable, even empathetic, but inside they are chronically exhausted, resentful, and full of tension. They've internalized the belief that expressing anger makes them bad. So they smile, they say yes, and they carry silent rage in their bodies. Let's step away from theory and look at how anger shows up in everyday life. Anna is 38, a school teacher. She lashes out at her partner over small things, but never raises her voice at work. Why? Because at home, she feels safe enough to release the anger she's been repressing all day. David is 42, a manager. He gets unreasonably angry at his teenage son, but deep down, it's not about the boy. It's fear. Fear that he's failing as a father just like his own dad once did. Leah is 26. She never gets angry, ever. But she constantly has migraines, stomach pain, and insomnia. Her body is screaming what her words refuse to say. We all carry emotional histories. Anger is often the first emotion to show, and the last one we truly understand. Let's be clear. Anger is not the enemy. In fact, healthy anger protects your boundaries, signals injustice, motivates change, and asserts your humanity. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about the power of creative tension, the idea that righteous anger can fuel civil rights and transformation. Anger only becomes harmful when it is chronic and unregulated, when it targets the wrong people, or when it becomes the only way you know how to express yourself. This is the real question, not how do I stop being angry, but what is this anger defending? Sometimes anger protects the part of you that was never heard. It defends memories that are too painful to revisit. It guards against the fear of being helpless, ignored, or hurt again. At its core, anger says, I want to be safe. I want to matter. It becomes the armor we wear when no one ever taught us how to say, I'm scared, I'm sad, or I need help. So what can we do with this anger? Start by not judging it. Do what psychology encourages. Name it. Say, I feel angry right now. Locate it in your body. Ask yourself, where do I feel this? Trace it. What just happened? What does it remind me of? Frame it. What story am I telling myself about this? And most importantly, express it safely. Write about it. Talk to someone. Move your body. Say the words out loud when you're alone. If your anger keeps returning uncontrollably or in ways that hurt you or others, it may be time for therapy. Not because you're broken, but because you're finally ready to listen to your own pain. So, why am I so angry? Maybe because no one ever asked how I felt. They just told me what I should feel. Maybe because I was never allowed to cry, so I learned to yell. Maybe because silence felt dangerous, and now only noise feels safe. Anger isn't the villain. It's your body's last attempt to say, I exist, I count, I am still here. You are not your rage. You are the life behind it. And the fact that you're even asking the question means you're ready to understand the answer. Welcome back to Voices of the Psyche. Let's keep going deeper.